Hello, I'm not going to do an intro on these videos because I don't know when I'll be doing them or how I'll be delivering them out and about, so I'm just going to say hello for these ones. So we're in America, we're at our house. It's actually 5:30 in the morning at the moment. We've been here since, I don't know, we arrived about probably 5:30, 6 last night. I realised as I sort of unpacked and everything and went to do a video that it was probably about 2 a.m. in England. It's so weird being this jet lagged because the kids fell asleep and went to bed about 9:30, 10 here. We went to bed soon after, but then they were all up at 4 o'clock this morning, running around the house. Mother-in-law's still asleep, bless her, but they were just running around, and I could hear Mrs. Sheepdog saying, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be able to survive this later on. But no, they seem happy, it's all good. It was an interesting journey getting here. I'm just going to adjust my arm because I'm going to get arm makeup otherwise. As you can see, it's there. So our taxi driver arrived fine. He basically turned up, bang on when he said. I think he was actually early. So straight away, a bit of stress went away from me. That was awesome. And then he took us to the airport, and when we got there we said, oh, can we check in now? And I'm like, yep, go for it. So we went straight through that, straight through security. They stopped Mrs. Sheepdog for a minute. I panicked a bit because she was holding the baby and it had beeped as he'd gone through, and I thought it's because I'd registered him as a terrorist on the way through by mistake. When you fill in the ESTA form, it asks if you're coming to America to commit any terrorism, and while I was clicking through the answers, I clicked yes on his one, and a big red flag came up saying you're not allowed in, and I changed it to no, and it let us in. So I thought that was the reason, but it turned out she just had a pedometer on her belt, so they took that off and job done. We could get on the flight quite quickly, which was great. It was supposed to be a 9.5-hour flight, but then the pilot said it was actually going to take 8 hours, 20 minutes, which again just seemed great. We've just saved an hour and 10 minutes. By that point, I just thought this is all perfect, really. The flight itself, it was all right. I watched The Shape of Water, which is an odd film. It's okay. I wouldn't put it up in any high rankings. I was sat with Bosco. We were all in a row together. There was no one on their own. Bless him, he was good for the first half. I started to tell him to be quiet, and this guy in front was like, let him be, man, he's cool. And then he, at one point, got up and started showing, I'm surfing in the sky, and surfing down the middle aisle of the plane, pretending he was on a surfboard, which was hilarious, but I was like, come sit down, come sit down. He swapped places with Mrs. Sheepdog and the baby. The baby was obviously, he was so happy, but he was nuts, as you can imagine, because he's a baby, so that was fine. I got off the plane thinking that was all right, they did good. And then the bloke who was sat in front come up to me at baggage claim, and he said, are you taking those kids to Disneyland? And I was like, yeah. He went, God bless you, brother. He said, I'll see you in the next life. He was like, those boys, they're a handful. You're gonna have your work cut out. He said, but you wait till they're in their 20s like mine are. They're terrible. These guys are great. You know, cherish them and all of this. And I said, well, I said, the girl started to get a bit upset. I didn't even realise you had a girl until the end of the flight. She was perfect. And I was like, yeah, okay. She was pretty well behaved the whole way through, just chilling out, watching stuff. We played a lot of trivia games and stuff like that. It felt like the longest flight ever, but now it's done. It doesn't seem like it was that long, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, I felt for Bosco, he was bored, but overall it was good. We had a faff and a half when we got there because the carousel with all the baggage on, basically, we had to queue for like, we hand over your passport, and Bosco's going, I need a wee, I need a wee, I need a wee, to the point where he's shouting it loudly, and we say, look, we're in a queue, mate, you need to wait. I said, you can go for a wee when we're in America. So we were walking through, and it was just taking so long. They were basically stopping everyone, making them put their fingers on a pad and then their thumbs, and then talk to the guy, what are you doing here, why are you here, why have you come here, so on and so forth. And there were so many families in front of us, so bless him, he just would not stop talking about the fact he needed the toilet, and we were saying, it's okay, mate, you'll be fine. Everyone around us knew he needed it, and they're all talking to us about it, which again is just his way of basically drawing in hundreds of people into his plight. So then when we got out there, we ran straight to the loo. I stood there waiting for the luggage to come round. Lamb Pup's running after our bag as it's going around the carousel, and I'm saying, just leave it, it'll come back round to us, telling her to just not touch it because it's too heavy. And just as it went out of her reach, the whole carousel broke down and all of our stuff was stuck round the back by a wall. And she was saying, I told you we should have got it. And I was obviously like, yeah, I'm an idiot, sorry. So we had to wait for some guy to come and throw it all over the edge to us, which took ages for them to figure out that they could have just got a guy to throw it all over. But that was when the American came up to me and said about the kids and was laughing at me because it had gone so well to that point. But we were like, it's all right, it's not the end of the world. So then we dragged all our stuff onto a trolley. We walked up towards, there's like a train area where you have to get a monorail across from one side of Orlando Airport to the other. And they were like, you can't take all your baggage up those stairs on that trolley. We're going to have to put it on another carousel. And I'm thinking, oh God, the problems we've had with the other carousel, I don't really want to do this. So we said we'd meet our luggage over the other side. And when we got there, I said to my family, okay, you wait here, I'll go get a trolley and I'll go get the luggage. And when I got to the luggage, all the trolleys were like $5 and I don't have any money on me. So I'm just like, no. I'm trying to ring Mrs. Sheepdog and say to her, can you come down? But her phone hasn't registered on American networks yet. And, I'm standing there with all this luggage thinking, what am I going to do? And then I asked the guy where our car was going to be and he said it was underneath where I was standing. So I thought, they have to come here. There's no point in me walking to them. So eventually her phone registered and I got her. But when we went down to the car, which I thought was going to be the hard bit. Everyone had told me that registering the car was the bit that takes like forever, but they literally just went, yep, that's all done. The second she handed over a credit card, they just said, yeah, job done, there you go, right. Go out to the car park, someone will show you what to do. They showed us the car, we checked it out for like bumps and scrapes and that, and then we got in. We did not know how to use it. I had to call the man back to show us how to change the gear, because in England you have to put your foot on the clutch, but obviously this is an automatic. There is no clutch. You have to put your foot on the brake, apparently. Once he'd shown us all of that, Mrs. Sheepdog was so brave driving us out, but she hated it. It started absolutely thunder and lightning storming. And we're driving along and the road saying turn right, she'd turn right, and it would say, you went the wrong way. And it was just a nightmare driving around, and we're all getting a bit choppy at this point and a bit like, it said turn left, why have we gone right? And me giving bad instructions, the sat-nav giving bad instructions, saying stay on this road or don't turn off here, and it being heard us turn off here, and it was a nightmare. But it's supposed to be a 30-minute journey. I think it took us 50 minutes because we kept going a bit wrong. The roads were confusing, and she was very brave for driving it. She said, did I want to drive it? And I was like, no way. Being on the other side of the car and the other side of the road just seems like too much for someone who's not that experienced at driving. That was probably the most tormented part of it. It was horrific. It was horrible, worrying about it. But we went out again later on and that was fine. So I think we're used to it now. But when we got to our house, and I put this on Twitter, so anyone who follows me on Twitter at RB6K will have seen this already. But I said to her it was 625 whatever road. So we followed the sat-nav to the road. We're going along and I'm like, right, okay, here's the numbers, it's going down, there's 625. So we drive up to it, it's just a post box and a big empty plot of grass. And we all looked at it and my heart just went, I was just like, oh no, we've rented a plot of land. And I just sank, and like in my head, my brain's running so quick, I'm thinking, what do we do? Do we just find a hotel? Do we have to get a tent now and camp out? And then I had a quick look at the book and it said 635, which was behind us. So we had to go around the block again, pulled up, 635 is actually right next to the plot. So I'll take a picture. I did take a picture, it's on Twitter, sorry. Yeah, it's a reminder of how dumb I am, but we're in 635, which is amazing. I will do a walk around the house video at some point, I guess, just to show it off, even if I do it at the end. I love it. It's got a lovely living room, really comfy sofa. It's got the garage is a games room with a basketball hoop and an air hockey table and a foosball table and stuff like that. We've got a ceiling fan in here, which I don't think is affecting. That's why I'm facing this way, because it was flickering. The rooms are all done up, so we're in like a beach room. bathroom is the captain's quarters. Bosco and Lampup are in an Aladdin-themed room. The baby's in a Toy Story room. My mother-in-law's in a rock and roll room with records on the wall. Yeah, it's great. It's so nice, and it's Disney-themed like elsewhere around the place. Very comfortable. The bed's been awesome to sleep in. Just had a shower before I did this video. That was lovely. The pool looks awesome. Although we've not gone in it because it was still storming last night. My only concern now is we're supposed to be going to the Magic Kingdom today. It opens in 2 hours, 15 minutes. It is raining hard, and I don't know, it's basically, looking at the forecast, it says today is going to be storms all day, and yeah, just wet. And I've looked through the week, it doesn't look as bad as it did before. It doesn't say that it's going to be storming all day or whatever, but it is raining most of the time, which is great. It's a warm rain though, so that's all right. But I don't know, I've read that they shut down all the big rides when it gets to a certain point. So I'm fully expecting to arrive at Disney this morning and find that Splash Mountain's closed, and we're supposed to be on it at 10:20, I think it is. I mean, we'll get on it. I'm not worried. I'm not stressed. I'm at a point now where the bits I was stressed about have happened. We're there. It's done. We're in the house. Do you know what I mean? Like, at this point, it's all just extra. It's all just fun. We'll go to Disney. As long as the tickets are real when we get in, that's fine. We'll make our own fun while we're there. You know, a 3-minute log flume isn't going to wreck my holiday. You're not getting to go on it. We did, one thing that did, as you know, aside from anything, and assuming this still tastes as good as I remember it, the holidays are already a success, because we basically went to, I forgot the name of the bleeding place, it begins with P. What is it? It's basically a chain of supermarkets beginning with P, and I keep wanting to say Pixel, but it's not. It's like Picture or something, I don't know. Pickle, I don't know, it's not Pickle. But they're the local supermarket. They're about 5 minutes down the road. Me and Mrs. Sheepdog went there. We went and did our shopping up and down the aisles. If you're American, your aisles are bizarre over here compared to what I'm used to, and I say that in a nice way. In England, it's like you go to an aisle where it's got all the tins on it with soup and meat and all this, that and the other. You go to an aisle and it's got all the fizzy drinks and this, that and the other on it. Here, they're all merged in, so you've got your dog food with your tea and coffee and stuff like that. I guess it makes sense because it entices you to buy things you weren't looking for. I don't know. But while we were wandering around, we got everything we wanted. And then I saw this beer that I drank maybe 4 or 5 years ago at an event in London, like one of the MGP meetups, called Rogue Dead Guy. I've been looking for this beer everywhere since that day because I thought it was so nice. And now I don't know if it was nice because I was already a bit tipsy or whether it's just genuinely nice. But I've tried to order it off the internet, I've tried to look at it on Amazon, I've tried to look at it at beer websites, I've looked at it in every shop, every place I've gone to, no one's ever sold it since. Walk into the supermarket and they've got stacks and stacks and stacks of it in cans. So I just bought a pack. I was like, right, damn it, I'm buying this. If it tastes as good as I remember, then I'm going to buy more. I was so tired when I got home, I never tried it, so I don't know whether it does live up to the hype. But finding it and knowing I can now taste it sober and decide whether I like it and it's worth pursuing is great, because if it's not worth pursuing, I'll stop. But if it is, then I will, I don't know, start my own distribution chain in the UK so I can start flogging it elsewhere and having my own constant supply. Anyway, so that was the highlight. We also, the TV here is pretty cool. We put the telly on and it was just, it's so bizarre. Kimmy Schmidt was on an advert for, I don't know, KFC or something. Samuel L. Jackson's advertising some sort of, I can't remember what it was it laser eye surgery? Justin Timberlake is advertising this new fruit drink. It says, this Justin, we've got some new drink made of cranberries. This Justin likes to force blueberries into raspberries. And it's just like, yeah, I call it a blosberry or something. And I'm thinking, this is so weird. In the UK, you guys are so famous that, you know, if I wanted you to be on an advert advertising something, a drink I'd made, it'd probably cost me gazillions and I'd never make that money back. But over here, it's worth his time and effort to sit and push a blueberry into a raspberry. I feel like there could be a whole, I mean, I'm not going to do it, but there could be a whole YouTube channel of its own dedicated to these adverts for showing English people them. I mean, Tarrant on TV was basically that, but they never had as many American adverts on it. Your adverts are brilliant. I'm enjoying this. It's worth watching the ad breaks just for them. I'm going to wrap it up anyway, because as you can probably hear, the baby's going nuts in the background, and I want to go and help Mrs. Sheepdog. She walked in midway through, and she probably noticed me look over. But yeah, I'll do a proper walk around the house, and I'll probably do Disney update ones. This is more of a test of whether I can get a video into the internet without it all going wrong. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.